Have you ever found yourself standing in the kitchen, wondering why you walked in there in the first place? Or maybe you've had one of those mornings where everything feels just a little slower, like your energy is moving through molasses. You're not alone. It happens to all of us. But here's the good news. Staying sharp, independent, and full of life after 60 isn't about doing anything drastic. It's about the small things, those gentle, consistent habits that keep your confidence strong and your mind and body feeling capable. You've spent a lifetime building your independence. That sense of self-sufficiency is something to be proud of, and the last thing you want is to feel like it's slipping away. So today, we're going to talk about 6 simple things that every independent senior should be doing every week. These aren't complicated routines or long to-do lists. They're meaningful, doable actions that help you stay connected to your body, your community, and most importantly, yourself. Let's start with something that might seem simple but is often overlooked. Checking in with your own body. Now, I don't mean going to the doctor every week. That's not realistic. What I'm talking about is taking a few quiet moments, once or twice a week, to actually ask yourself, how am I feeling? Not just fine or okay, but really tuning in. Are your joints aching more than usual? Has your sleep changed? Are you feeling low on energy or unusually stiff? It's easy to write these things off, especially when we've been taught to just push through and get on with it. But checking in with your body is not about being dramatic. It's about being aware. Just like you'd listen if your car started making a strange noise, you want to pay attention when your body starts sending you signals. These weekly check-ins give you a chance to catch little things before they turn into bigger issues. Maybe you notice your ankles have been swelling a bit, or your balance feels a little off. That's your cue to mention it to your doctor, or maybe to take a rest day or adjust your shoes. You'd be amazed how many health problems become manageable or even preventable just because someone took 5 minutes to listen to what their body was quietly trying to say. Now, along with paying attention to how you feel, comes another powerful habit, moving your body with intention. I'm not talking about heavy workouts or running marathons. This isn't about no pain, no gain. In fact, pain is exactly what we're trying to avoid. What I mean is making sure you're getting in at least 1 or 2 good sessions of purposeful movement each week. Not just walking to the fridge or down the hallway, but doing something that gets your body engaged and your mind tuned in. For some people, that might be a gentle yoga class at the community center or a light swim at the pool. For others, it could be dancing around the living room to your favorite music. Yes, even in your slippers. The type of movement doesn't matter as much as the intention behind it. It's about choosing to move in a way that supports your strength, your flexibility, and your confidence. And here's something important. The more you move, the more you want to move. That stiffness you sometimes feel in the morning, it often comes from sitting too much or letting your muscles go unused. Just like any habit, your body remembers what you teach it. And if you teach it to move regularly, even gently, it starts to feel capable. And when your body feels capable, so do you. Let me tell you a little story. A friend of mine named Gloria, she's 74, told me that she started doing simple stretching 3 times a week in front of her TV. Nothing fancy, just reaching, bending, rolling her shoulders while watching her favorite shows. After a few weeks, she noticed she was getting out of chairs faster and going upstairs without holding onto the railing. "I didn't realize how much I'd let go," she told me. now I feel like I've taken some of it back. That's the magic of intentional movement. It gives you something back. Now, as we're building these habits, there's one more piece we can't leave out, and that's connecting with others. Staying independent doesn't mean isolating yourself or doing everything alone. In fact, real independence thrives when it's supported by strong, healthy connections. So once a week, make it a priority to have at least one meaningful conversation. I don't mean a quick text or a polite hello at the store. I mean a real heart-to-heart talk with someone you care about. It might be a call to an old friend, a neighbor you invite over for tea, or even a chat with your granddaughter where you really listen and really share. Human connection is like oxygen for the spirit. It lifts us, grounds us, and reminds us that we matter. And when you feel seen, heard, and valued, that confidence, that inner fire that says, yes, I've still got it, starts to burn brighter, even if you live alone, even if your circle has gotten. It's time to shift our focus to something just as important, though a little more subtle, challenging your mind. Now, I know what you might be thinking. I'm retired. I don't need more challenges. But here's the thing. The brain, much like the body, thrives on activity. Not stress, not pressure, but gentle, consistent stimulation. Something that says, hey, I'm still in here and I've still got it. Each week, give your mind something new to chew on. It doesn't have to be complicated. No need to study quantum physics or memorize Shakespeare unless you want to. It can be something as simple as doing a crossword puzzle, watching a documentary, or reading a chapter of a book you've never picked up before. Even switching up your routine, like trying a new recipe or walking a different route, can light up parts of your brain that haven't been used in a while. And don't underestimate the power of learning something completely new, no matter your age. I once met a man named Joe. He was 82 when he decided to learn how to play the ukulele. It's the best thing I've done in years, he told me. I sound terrible, but I feel fantastic. That right there is the point. You're not doing it to become a genius. You're doing it to stay engaged with life, to remind your mind that there's still more to discover, more to enjoy. It's not about keeping up with the world. It's about keeping your world interesting, exciting, and mentally alive. When your brain feels sharp, your decisions become clearer. Your confidence rises, and suddenly tasks that used to feel overwhelming, like handling bills, managing medications, or organizing your home, become easier. It's all connected. A mentally active person is more likely to remain independent and in control of their day-to-day life. That brings us to another weekly habit that helps support every single thing we've talked about so far, preparing for the week ahead. Now, this doesn't mean you have to sit down with a color-coded calendar and plan every minute. It can be as simple as taking a few quiet moments each Sunday, or whatever day works for you, to look at what's coming. Do you have any appointments? Are there errands you want to run, meals you'd like to cook, or visits you're hoping to make? Having a light plan doesn't just help you stay organized. It gives you a sense of control, and that, more than anything, fuels independence. A little bit of planning each week can make a world of difference. Think about it like setting the stage for your own success. When you know what's coming, you can make smarter choices, like setting out clothes the night before a big outing, or arranging transportation ahead of time so you're not rushing. These small acts of preparation can help reduce stress, increase your confidence, and save you energy for the things you actually want to enjoy. It also opens up space for spontaneity. When your essentials are handled, your appointments, your grocery run, your daily meds. You're free to say yes to the unexpected joys. A neighbor invites you for coffee. You go. You feel like taking a little walk on a sunny afternoon. Nothing's stopping you. Independence doesn't mean living without structure. It means having just enough structure that you feel free, not frazzled. And here's a little tip that's helped many of the seniors I've worked with. Try keeping a simple weekly journal or checklist. Nothing fancy. Just a place to jot down the week's tasks, your mood, maybe a few reflections. Over time, it becomes a record of how capable you really are. And on those days when confidence dips, flipping back through those pages can be a quiet but powerful reminder. You're doing great. Now, I want to pause here for a moment and say something that might surprise you. Independence isn't about doing everything by yourself. It's about choosing when to ask for help and when to take the lead. And that's where our next weekly habit comes in. Reviewing your supports. Every week, take a moment to think about the people, tools, and systems that make your life easier. Maybe it's a friendly neighbor who checks in now and then, or your grocery delivery app, or a son or daughter who helps with the tech stuff. Recognizing and appreciating these supports isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of wisdom. It means you've figured out what works for you, and you've put it in place so you can live your life with as much ease and strength as possible. Independence and interdependence aren't opposites. They're partners. Think about it this way. Even the most self-reliant person needs good shoes to walk comfortably. Does that make them less independent? Of course not. It makes them smart. The same goes for having the right tools and people around you. Whether it's a house cleaner who comes twice a month, a weekly phone call with a friend who lifts your spirits, or a simple reminder app that helps you take your meds on time. It all counts. It all adds up to a life that runs smoothly, with less stress and more joy. Now let's talk about something that might not sound very exciting at first, but might just be the most important habit of all: celebrating yourself. Yes, you heard me right. Once a week, make it a point to stop and truly recognize something you've done well. It doesn't have to be big. Maybe you made it through a tough appointment without getting overwhelmed. Maybe you cooked a meal you haven't made in years. Maybe you simply got out of bed on a day when you really didn't feel like it. That counts. All of it counts. We live in a world that often rushes past our little victories, but you know what? Those little victories are the very things that keep us going. They remind us of who we are: resilient, capable, still learning, still doing. And especially as we get older, when society doesn't always take the time to see us, we have to see ourselves. We have to be the ones to say, you know what? I did something good today. This isn't about ego or praise. It's about dignity. It's about confidence. It's about telling yourself regularly, I'm still in this. I still matter. And you do. You matter more than you probably realize. Your presence, your wisdom, your stories, they all mean something. And when you take a moment each week to honor your efforts, you strengthen your sense of self in the most beautiful way. I know people who write their weekly win on a sticky note and place it on the fridge so they see it every time they reach for the milk. Others light a candle and sit quietly for a few minutes, just feeling thankful for what their body and mind have carried them through that week. It can be quiet. It can be loud. What matters is that you make space for it, because that space, the space for joy, for reflection, for gratitude, is the very thing that keeps independence from feeling like a burden. It turns routine into ritual. It turns another day into your day. And here's a gentle reminder for those moments when you feel like you're falling behind, or that things just aren't as easy as they used to be. You're not failing, you're adapting, you're adjusting, and every single step you take to support yourself, no matter how small it seems, is proof that you haven't given up on living fully, not even close. In fact, if you take a moment right now, think about how many times you've gotten up when things felt hard. Think about how many changes you've already lived through. New technology, new health challenges, shifting relationships. And still, here you are, still learning, still growing, still reaching. That is not ordinary. That is extraordinary. So what have we really talked about? We've talked about tuning into your body, because your body is wise. It tells you what it needs when you slow down and listen. We've talked about moving with intention, because that movement keeps you strong and energized. We've talked about the power of real connection, how one genuine conversation can lift your spirit more than a dozen errands ever could. We looked at the value of keeping your mind active, because curiosity is a muscle too. We learned how planning your week helps you feel calm and in control instead of caught off guard. And we remembered how important it is to recognize the supports you've built around yourself, not as a sign of weakness, but as a sign of wisdom. And finally, we wrapped it all in something essential: kindness toward yourself. Not just getting through the week, but honoring the strength it takes to do so. Each of these small things, they build a foundation, they hold you up. And when you make them part of your weekly rhythm, life starts to feel a little more grounded, a little more manageable, and yes, even more joyful. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's something you do each week that helps you feel confident and capable? Maybe it's something we mentioned today, or maybe it's something totally different. Share it in the comments. Your tip might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And if this video spoke to you, if it made you smile or think or sit up a little straighter, go ahead and give it a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. There's so much more we can talk about together, because this chapter of life, it's full of possibilities. You're not just getting older, you're becoming even more you, and there's power in that. Here's to your strength, your heart, and your independence. You've got this.